Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest wonderful live stream with a wonderful guest, the lovely, the wonderful, the incredibly talented Jeff Brown. I'm so glad you're here, brother. How are you tonight?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I was saying a little bit before we come on, man, the amount of work that I see from you in every, tell me if you have a similar experience. Every artist has their look, and I couldn't put it in words. I couldn't identify other than just looking at it, of course, your flavor. I can identify when it's a Jeff Brown piece. I can identify it when it's a Felix Ortiz piece. And that is just the coolest thing, man. I may be kind of jumping the gun here with that in the intro, but I'm just so glad you're here. And I appreciate you willing to come on the channel and just kind of hang out for a little bit, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you guys in the chat. I see you over there. We'll start with this. Tell us a little bit about yourself without the career.
Yeah, I guess I'm Canadian, grew up in Canada. I play the bagpipes. Let's see. I've always been drawing and stuff like that. Love metal music. I heard some of that in the intro, so
Absolutely.
What else about me? I moved to Mexico when I was 19. I've been here. I'm in Mexico right now, so I've been there since then.
No way.
So I speak fluent Spanish. I married a Mexican. I made a Mexican baby. Yeah.
So that's cool. So why did you move to Mexico, if I could ask? Is it like for a career or just interest?
Yeah, it was like a religious thing.
Okay.
I've since I've become not religious, but so a bit of a life change there. But yeah, that was kind of the thing. I was like a missions trip kind of thing, and then just got married and stayed down here.
That's awesome. So you've got little ones?
Family man? Just one. Yeah, I got one. He's got his name is Jacob. He's got cerebral palsy, very severe case. So it's he's like having like 5 or 6 kids. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, absolutely. That's a father. And I have to say, what part of Mexico did you move to? And is it like a huge culture shock?
Yeah, it's very different. It's called Cuernavaca. It's just like an hour south of Mexico City. So it's like nobody really speaks English for the most part here. I mean, the occasional person, but it's not like right in the north border, you'll meet lots of people who speak English, but here it's kind of like not that common. So yeah.
I have seen in your work like titles in different languages. So we'll speak on that for a second if you could. If it isn't Spanish, is there any other languages that you've worked with as far as covers and titles?
I think I've only done like 2 Spanish covers. I think I've done a couple in French. It's just kind of like whoever contacts me. So that's just people from different countries wanting to work with me. But yeah,
I have a feeling that will grow. Your work has been ever present. And we'll kind of get to that, but I know I told you to take the career aspect out of talking about yourself. Can we introduce that part now?
Yeah. So I guess I started like I've been drawing since I was a kid. I got my first like graphics tablet when I was 14, and then I've kind of been doing digital art since then, pretty much every day. So it was kind of something that I've always enjoyed doing, and I started doing it like little jobs here and there. From the time I was about 16, I was doing little graphic design jobs. And then when I was like 19, I started doing a little bit more professional illustration. And then when I was 20, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to try to do this full time. And about, August 2014, I started working full time.
So graphic artist is what I hear. And like my wife is a graphic artist, but she does nothing compared to what you do.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I started doing like
logos.
Design. Yeah, I was doing like, I wasn't very good to be honest, but I was doing like logos, and I did like menus for restaurants, little things like that. Like I was always kind of a bit entrepreneurial as a kid, so I was doing little stuff like that in my like local online classifieds in Canada, and I was I was doing, I would just like announce that I was doing graphic design or illustration stuff, and so I'd get random local businesses to work with there.
My guy E.L. Montague says, "Nice. I've always found Mexico to be very comfortable. I'm sure E.L. you've been there multiple times, man. I would love to go. I don't think right now is the time for me. Although it is like I had to walk from my house to the outbuilding where I do this, and it is just it's frigid, man. It's snowing again here in Ohio, and look, I love snow. I do.
Yeah.
And being from Canada, do you miss it?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd never liked it that much. Like when you get a little bit of snow at the start of the year and you go like, I don't know, like go out and have a snowball fight and stuff like that. Go sledding. That's all good. But yeah, no, I don't miss it. I love the heat. Man. I always love summer. So here it's like I went wakeboarding on Christmas this year. So it was great.
No way.
Yeah.
What a change.
Feels so weird.
I'll bet it was. And I get it. Like, I like to look at snow. I like to look out the window. And, you know, we have 4 little ones. That's kind of magical. You kind of relive that from, you know, my childhood. Yeah. But past that, I can pretty much agree with everything you said. It's like, our mail hasn't come in like 4 or 5 days because they can't make it down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. So I get both sides of the coin. I really do.
Yeah.
So I love that. I'm glad that you started with you talk about the introductory kind of graphic design and worked your way up. My wife had some wonderful questions. So a lot of the questions that I have tonight came from her.
Yeah.
How old were you when you, let me start with this one. Did cover design start first, or did you have an interest in literature first?
I've always been reading, so it was not, cover design wasn't the main thing. I've been like a big fantasy fan since I was, I don't know when I guess I grew up reading, like when I started learning to read, I would read with my mom and she would read one page and then I'd read the next page and we'd go back and forth. We started reading. There's my dad right there.
What's up, Dad? Man, I'm so glad you're here.
Guess my mom's there too, probably. Yeah,
beautiful.
So, yeah, we'd read like a page back and forth. We would read lots of Star Wars books, like the Jedi. What was the Jedi Apprentices? I don't remember what they're called. That kind of books. I think they were like YA kind of Star Wars things. But so we'd read a page and a page, and then I started getting like a few pages ahead and then a few chapters ahead, and then she's like, forget this, just read it on your own. So, and then I got into lots of fantasy books. I started reading like Forgotten Realms, loved the Drizzt books, the Dungeons and Dragons, Dragonlance. I read a lot of those.
Okay.
And that was a big kind of inspiration for me when I was starting, or when I was younger. I used to take books out of the library. Like I would take out the Dragons of Autumn Twilight. I think I took that out of the library like 5 times just to enjoy the cover. That cover, the cover. I don't know if there's multiple covers, but the one I had, there's like the 3 characters with the dwarf on there, and then there's like this big kind of city of that's built up in the trees, like treehouse kind of city on this enormous tree. And I just loved like looking at the world there and just imagining what would it be like to live there. And yeah,
that is, I have to say, it sparks. So I'm going to say it, man. That is the epitome of what I see in your work. You do like, I'm trying to think of the word. You do mega epic in a space that normally you don't see that. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like you do epic scale.
Yeah. I like focusing on the scale. Yeah.
Bro, I've never seen epic scale the way that you do it.
Yeah.
It was first with the Silver Blood Promise. And then I got to see, I've got a bunch of them here, but, getting into the Dragonbone chair and just seeing what you can do with that limited space, but making it epically huge in scale is incredible.
Yeah, that's always been kind of the thing that's interested me most since I got into digital painting. When I was drawing, it was always like when I was like a kid drawing, it was mostly characters and stuff like that, and dragons, of course, draw swords. But then once I got into digital painting and more like the big shapes, I was immediately drawn to environments and getting like, how do you make something as big as possible and as epic as possible? And so I got pulled into the environment art very quickly. That was what most interested me.
One of the things that we're told, like as young children, is like, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, I've done that 100% all my life, and I think a lot of people have. I picked up Peter Elliott's book just because I saw your cover for them. And turns out, man, it represents the book just like you've represented every other book that I've read of yours that you've done the cover for. So it's just incredible. You know, people are picking up books because of the art that you did, man. How does that feel?
Well, it feels great. I can't promise that the book's going to be good though, because just like anybody can just hire me. So
sure.
Yeah. I had one, I'm not going to say what book it was from, but I saw a review on there and somebody said, I picked up this book because of the cover, and it went downhill from there.
Hey, and I feel like every book will have somebody that says that, you know, books aren't for everybody. That book in particular. But I think the special point is when it really does translate and somebody, you know, sees that representation that you've created from having that relationship with the author actually pull through with the story. And again, I like that point you make. Not every book that you're going to illustrate is going to follow through. You know, anybody can hire you. So that must be difficult also. Like, is there an aspect to that where you kind of lean on the author, or is this kind of like a relationship, you know, it's completely different? Don't judge my art on the quality of the writing. How does that relationship work?
I don't know. I guess I guess in a certain extent, I don't like. I don't read all the books I do covers for, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I thought put that much thought into it with that kind of relationship. I think there is a certain level of when somebody wants a cover, because my covers are quite expensive, so it's like if they're putting that kind of effort into the cover, that speaks to what where their heart's at with the book as well. Obviously, different people have different budgets, so there's that as well. But
you hit that right on the top, dude. When me and my wife see a product, whether it be a book or face cream or whatever it is, like if you've put that, if the creator has put that kind of effort into the packaging or the cover art, a lot of the time, at least from my experience, speaks to the quality of the inside product or the written words.
But
I mean, it also gets like that's not all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people just have a lot of money to throw around, but on the other hand, like you spend 1,000 hours writing a book, let's say, and then you put a $50 cover on it. That doesn't make sense to me. But
it's funny because like I've seen the opposite of what you're saying. Like, wonderful cover. Sometimes it doesn't translate to the quality of the work. I've seen and been like, I've received books that are just so good, but they haven't put the work or the, you know, I obviously, like what you said, a lot of people are limited from funds and this and that, and can't necessarily hire the exact person they want. Again, I just kind of seen the opposite. Like, it wasn't an incredible cover. It wasn't incredible formatting so big for me. But that quality of writing translated to where I had to reach out and I said, I think that if you dressed this product, because that's what it is. It is. In a more beautiful suit, it would do so much better because the quality of writing is there. So two different ends of the spectrum.
It is tough to see when I see the like a lot of newer authors and get covers from me, and it just doesn't go anywhere at the same time, and the book seems to be great as well. That also happens. So it's hard. It's really tough being an indie author. It's really tough getting traction on your book. And especially when you aren't involved in the kind of social side of it, which a lot of people get into being an author, being an artist, because you don't need the social side as much, I guess. But it's tough to get in. It's tough to get started.
It is, and I think you make a good point because indie authors oftentimes have a lot harder of it. I don't know. I can't speak from a published author to I'm not an author, but just from what I've heard, it is a little bit more difficult to get your traction as an indie author. So I'm glad that you made that point. What's going on, Avid Book Junkie? It's good to see you here, brother. I like that new picture, by the way. Hello, everyone, he says. The wifey must have, well, we had the kids to bed, but the wifey's here, so it's officially started. Good evening, y'all. Long time no see. She's speaking. I haven't done a live in a little while, but they're picking up. I took a little bit of time off in December just to kind of refresh, rejuvenate. So this is one of her questions, actually. How old were you when you first got like your first commission to do a cover?
When I first started doing covers, I think I got one or two before then. So it would have been probably around November 2014.
Wow.
I'm 31 now, so that's like I was like 20, 21.
So I'm 34, so I'm officially older than you. So now I feel better.
Yeah, you're
I'm bald.
You're gonna stay that way. Well, I actually I brought a prop here that I need to put on. Just give me a second.
Let's do it.
Pick up my.
I'll bet it. Yes.
So
that's incredible.
So I got a gray beard. So now I am officially older than you.
This is the first time I've ever had a guest bring their own beard, and I respect it, dude.
Yeah. So now I have more gray hairs than you do now. So you have to bow to your elders.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I respect the hell out of that, dude. That is wonderful. This is also another one of my wife's questions. I guess now that I know part of the answer, I want to ask you exactly the same. This is your full-time gig. Can I assume that?
Yeah. Okay. I've been doing this full-time since the 60s, actually. Yeah.
That's kind of my question. So you had this beginning in establishing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing it full-time?
Well, it's been 54 years now.
54, guys.
Yeah. Graphic
artist before the actual internet was.
Well, before I was born, actually. No. Okay, I got to take this out and comfortable.
I love it though. Thank you. That's beautiful.
BYOB, bring your own beard.
I love it. Who said that? Who said that?
Already.
He did.
Yeah. I gotta say hi to hi to Tim. I saw. Let's see. Saw Handa up there.
Molly.
And Handa says hi.
Love it.
Awesome.
So hey, what's going on? Rob Lee, what's going on, my friend? Dude, it's good to see you, man. Me and him have epic conversations every time he comes on the channel. It's good to see everybody. So I think you were joking, but how long have you been able to do it full time?
Yeah, no, it's so since I was doing I started doing artwork, I guess, professionally fairly often since like I think it was probably September 2013. Then I started working full time August 2014, and then I started doing covers because I was doing a lot of RPG kind of stuff, illustrations for RPG campaign books, lots of that kind of world. I was getting all my work from Google Plus back in the day. There was a huge RPG community on there.
Really?
Yeah, so that's where I got like almost all my work from at the start. And then I asked in the Google Plus community, I said, hey, I'm looking for more work, love to get more out there as an artist. Where would you guys recommend that I work, or what kind of things can you see my skill set going towards? And somebody wrote this big drawn out explanation about, well, not drawn out, that's a bad way of putting it, a thorough explanation of how I should become a book cover artist, and recommended I get onto K-boards. So that was like a forum for Kindle authors. Writers Cafe was the section there. So I posted on there and just shared kind of my art and said, hey, I'd love to do some book covers. I was just doing the illustration side of it then. And then
Not the cover side.
yeah, so I was doing like illustrations for covers, but
Okay.
not the typography.
Okay.
And then when I started getting that, sorry, I just need to check that.
No, you're good, brother.
My kid's waking up.
Hey, if you have to take a break, we're
No,
here
no,
live.
we're good. My wife's got it. It's just making sure that she heard him. So all good. Yeah, so I started doing just doing the illustrations for the covers, but I saw like people would get me to just do the illustration and they put really terrible typography on it. So I was like, wait a second, I'm a graphic designer. I can do this better than. I wasn't a great graphic designer, and I got better. I started like investing time and learning into that and studying the graphic design side of it to do typography as well. And then I just kind of included that in the package with covers.
So just so everybody, from what I understand, not a lot of cover illustrators, cover artists do typography as well, right?
No.
So I can't remember I wish I could. He's huge, man. He's done like a bunch of the books that I have. The typography, he's a typographer. And so to know that you kind of say, hey, I like my covers, but I also kind of want to have this typography alongside that because I trust my work. That's kind of unique. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's not common at all. There's definitely designers that do sort of the. I guess it's not common to do full custom illustration along with typography design. There are people that are general cover designers that do sort of the photo bash kind of stuff, or like mixing together stock photos, that kind of stuff. That's very common. But full like illustration like I do with typography is not common at all.
So with this, did you do the typography?
Yep.
Okay, so I feel like that's an all-around better. You have an idea of where this cover is, like the scale of which is why I love your work. And you see kind of like a gesture here, and this typography, I would not have guessed that you did it also, because I know that people specifically do that.
Yeah, you got to look at the credits.
No,
yeah. So I did that one's cool because that's all of my work on the outside of the book is this. I did the edges too. That's all.
Oh, you did okay. So you did like the sword.
Yeah, the bottom, top, and the sword there. That's so everything on the outside of the book is mine, and nothing in the inside is.
Getting the gig, Tad Williams trilogy. I mean, one of the fathers of classic fantasy.
Yeah. It's an honor.
How did you get involved? How did this relationship with you and the Broken Binding kind of start?
Yeah, that was mainly through with the Silver Blood Promise with James Logan. Because I did his covers, or his cover, his first cover. I got it back here, but you're looking for it now.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll grab it. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, I can bring down. I've got 2 copies here. I'll grab.
You got it? I'm sure you do, brother.
So this one.
Yes, dude.
So this is the Broken Binding Special Edition. I did his cover.
James Logan.
Back, I think it was a while ago. I think I did that like 2021, August, September 2021.
Wow.
And was it 2021 or 2022? I'm trying to think. I think it was 2021, but yeah, I did that, and then he actually didn't know if it was going to be traditionally published. He said, "I want to get this done." He said he works as an editor, but he's like, that's not going to get me in necessarily, but I definitely want to try to get it published traditionally. But I want my own cover to give a good impression, a good initial impression for my pitch. And so I want to get you to do that, and then hopefully they'll stick with it. Or if I don't get it in, I'll self-publish. But either way, I want to get the cover done. So I didn't know. Like he told me, like I did the cover. I think it was like a year later. He's like, yeah. So it got picked up by Tor and Arcadia, and So I was really happy about that. But once the Broken Binding picked up the special edition, they said, "Well, who's the artist for this? Let's talk to them." And
Got
and
the foot in the
James
door.
said, "Yeah." James said to them, "Well, I don't know if he's like really busy. I don't know if he'll be able to, because it was a rush job, and they needed like 3 new pieces of art within basically a month." And because a lot of times the turnarounds are just kind of crazy from when they get the go ahead to being able to get the go ahead to they need all the final files in. So yeah, it was very quick.
Wow.
So he's like, I don't think he'll be able to do it, but here's his email, and I was super excited about that, and this is awesome. I would love to do that. So I kind of just did extra hours and got that done. And then they're like, "Hey, we got a bunch more stuff. We got Malazan, and we got what else was I doing then?"
Rebody Problem.
That wasn't well. They that was on the cards coming up, but I think the next one right after that was Malazan.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they were mentioning 3-Body Problem. They mentioned a few others that are kind of in the works. And then so I kind of just we were talking, and I was talking with Matt from Broken Binding and about my favorite books, and we were sort of chatting back and forth. And he's like, "Oh man, you just missed. We just did Loch Lamora."
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, "Well, I'll get you to I'll hire you to do like an art card that we can send out for our subscribers." So
Dude,
that's when I
for
ended up
Loch
doing that one.
Lamora,
Yeah.
this completes my guess, bro.
Yeah.
I got that card, and I'm like, this is Jeff.
Yeah. So that was my second project with him, was that one.
Oh, that's so cool, dude. I'd have to say, I don't know how long ago you did this cover, but I know how long I've been waiting for this book. And again, this is just me being greedy. But
Yeah.
the Blackfire Blade, which is book 2 for James Logan, who is, by the way, man, for the first, I don't know if you've read Silver Blood Promise, but man, it was so incredibly fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hooked. I cannot wait. And this just delivers. The purple hue, it's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That was a blast to work on that one. Yeah.
That's so cool. And so you got kind of a foot in the door through doing the Silver Blood Promise, and that's kind of how things happen, right? You don't really count on things happening. These things kind of work themselves into your life.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. Honestly, I was kind of stuck in this kind of self-published book area of where book covers are more of just kind of the commodity of, I need to get a marketable book cover. So it's just lots of people who are doing like tons and tons of books and just getting them out there. So I was involved in that kind of side of the publishing world. And then I honestly had no idea about special editions at all. Like I didn't know what end papers were or board art or any of that. And so they had to explain what this was all for and all that when I was doing that for them. So it just kind of fell into place with that. And then the next project came along and did Loch Lamora, did Malazan. And then all of a sudden it hadn't worked out quite with the timing for another artist. So I ended up doing Dragonbone Chair. And that was kind of last minute again. So that was a bit of a rush thing. The 3-Body Problem, we had a lot more time for that one. So that was more planned, but yeah.
So before we got on live or whatever, you had brought up a wonderful point that I'm so glad that you're willing to do. So would you mind taking us kind of through a rough process of how you do things? Is that kind of the way you want to
sure.
show it?
Yeah. Is anything you want to see in particular?
Me not knowing 100% of everything, I would just guys, if you have an idea, put it in the chat, but maybe like what you start looking like as far as a cover, like maybe at the very beginning stages.
I guess is there like a cover you want me to open up and show, and we can go through the process that I went through?
Let's do. You have Stone of Farewell.
Sure. Yeah.
That is a Stone of Farewell or To Green Angel Tower, I think, are both just perfect representations of what you do.
Cool. Yeah. Well, let's do stand up very well. I
Okay.
just posted a thing about on Instagram with a process for Green Angel. So let me bring up a
That's
few.
incredibly epic. Like when I saw like to close out the trilogy, like absolutely incredible. It's huge on such I mean, a book cover is not huge, but it just looks incredibly huge.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this came out. Now somebody's asking, that was last minute. How did you do this as a rush job? So it's like it's a rush job as in we had like a month to finish it. So
If there's a better example to better portray,
yeah,
I'm open to anything.
that's great. We can let's get into that. The
Okay.
Stone of Farewell one. So it's like a month is not. I usually do like 7 or so covers a month. So
Wow.
it's not like so when I say rush, it's not like I was rushing through the process of it. It's just like that went to the top of the pile and I had to keep that on top priority.
So real quick reference, just for me, and I think other people have this question. You said roughly 7 covers a month. So 3 or 4 days to dish out, or 5, 6, 7 days to dish out one?
Yeah, it's hard to count in days because I don't like I'm working on like 30 projects at a time. So
Oh my
it's not like I'll go between a lot of different things. It's not like I'm working dedicated on one project for a few days and then because a lot of times I'm going back and forth with different, like with the author or a publisher or whatever, and they'll need feedback. They'll need a few days to get things back, and then it also helps where I have projects at different stages because sometimes I'm just like not feeling it, and I just need to. The only thing I can do for work is I can just sit down and detail something that's almost done, because that's easy. That's like the easy part for me. Versus getting something started and coming up with a whole idea for it is much more.
That sounds
emotionally and mentally draining. So I'm not always feeling it. So there's I've got projects at different stages for that. Yeah. Can you show up any upcoming projects too?
Yeah,
I can't do that. Sorry.
Well, see, I assume that Hannah was maybe like an author who had a cover being made by you, and she was like giving you permission, but maybe I'll.
No, have you seen? Are you on Instagram that much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you follow? Do you see the one with? She always does the ones with the little hands doing unboxing videos.
Gosh,
You need to follow. You need to follow Hannah.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Oh, Hannah, I'm going to be following you. Absolutely.
Wait, that is the right Hannah, right? Yeah, it's Hannah. Yeah. So you have to follow. It's like Hannah on Instagram or something like that. But there's always like the unboxing videos.
We're done.
All the broken binding videos get unboxing with like little special jokes in there. It's awesome. Yeah. I'm always excited whenever people are starting to get the books. I'm always excited to see the Hannah reveal.
Yeah. That's got to be very rewarding. Like, oh my God, look at this package. Look at this art.
Yeah, well, it's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting for me to, because I was saying when I even basically started 2024, I started with the Silver Blood Promise. But before that, I had never really done anything in this kind of world of like special editions. It's very rewarding for me to see the art as more than just kind of a tool for sales and marketing, but something that people really love and appreciate and kind of geek out on and share on Instagram. It's really exciting and rewarding for me.
I think that's probably the one. Tell me if I'm wrong, but like from doing covers that you started kind of doing for self-published authors to special editions, like people will buy these special editions based solely on that art sometimes. Like I think it has another level of appreciation. Not that the self-pub covers it, again, Peter Elliott, huge. I love all of those covers, and you're the reason the cover's the reason that I picked those books up. But even more so with special editions, where you're like, I love this book, I love this author. They're making a special edition, and the art is excellent. I have to get that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because coming from the self-published world, it's a lot of people where it's like I want a cool book, and the cover might grab my attention, but I don't really care. Like in the world that I was kind of in, that was not always, but a lot of the mindset with that. A lot of people didn't even see the covers; they're just buying books on Kindle and whatever. So coming from that side, where it's just like the commodity, versus this side, a lot of times people haven't read the book, and it's like I don't even know if I'll read the book, but I just love having the book and having the beautiful thing on my bookshelf and be able to look at it and open it and see all the artwork.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the opposite, where it's a focus on the book to a focus on the artwork.
absolutely.
Not that you should read the book as well, but it's that's a lot of special editions. That's the kind of cool thing about it.
Absolutely. So Montague, he says, "Are you bringing something up, or did I miss it?" I think he was talking about the kind of
where I was going to show the process here. I'll share my screen here and let's get into.
As soon as you go to share, brother.
All right, let's see. All right, it's up here.
Awesome. Here we go, guys. Look at that. He's a professional, guys.
So I'll just go through my layers. I'll try to figure out what things were. But I usually start really, really messy, like that kind of thing. Yeah, and I'm just trying to get rough shapes of things.
I can identify it already.
Trying to get angles and where things are in relationship to each other. With things like this, you want to have an overlapping. If you have the characters down here, like that. Okay, wrong layer. Like down like that. Mm-hmm. You don't get that sense of scale quite as much because it doesn't overlap. So you want to have like the characters on top of that. So I'm thinking through lots of stuff like that. And then just rough draft painting, just trying to get some texture in there. So sometimes at the start, I'll add in some photos just to get myself started. I've moved away from, I used to do a lot more photo bashing in my art, even in the final stages. And I've kind of moved more towards I'm not doing any of that. Even on a lot of recent stuff, I haven't added any photos at all.
What is this program?
Now, this is Photoshop.
Okay. It's incredible, man. So to show size in relation to other things, it's better to kind of place those characters, because we identify humans very, very easily. And when you put that in front of a bigger thing, it shows that it's even bigger or massive or more massive in scale when you do so, kind of overlap those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Here's kind of, and just dropping some references around the edges for the storm and all that.
Dude, that is absolutely so cool. So do you have, when you start this, do you have a exact size of like this book cover from end to end and have that scale accurate on Photoshop?
Not usually, no. I usually have a rough idea of what the cover is going to be like, and then I'll adjust it to be smaller later on, or I'll add a bit more art at the end on the sides. So adding, like, if I had to add a little bit more on the edge for the flap, that's not a big deal for me. But because that, like, most of my, like 95% of my attention is on the front cover. And then adding just on the far edges, I don't put that much, that many focal points or that high of a detail level there. So, yeah.
Because I can imagine that Stone of Farewell, which is what you're showing right now, by Tad Williams, is much, maybe not much. I don't know. I don't know exactly. So a little bit longer of a dust cover than I would say Three Body Problem.
Yeah, it's not a ton though. The spine width is the main difference.
Okay.
So it ends up being maybe 10, 15 millimeters or something like that at most.
Not as much as I would have guessed.
Yeah, no, compared to the size of the front cover and the flaps and all that. So I just make things like bigger than needed usually, and then can downscale them later.
Wow, dude. I love that, man. And I appreciate you throwing that up there. So just kind of for another reference, when you pulled up, do you have one file named Stone and Farewell, and then you can go through kind of like a time stamp era, like where you start at the beginning of it, or is it just layers?
So I usually, whenever I'm doing a major change to the project, I'll just start a new one. So like here I have 4 for Stone of Farewell. Sometimes it's just 2, or sometimes it's like 6 or 7.
Okay.
And so this one was 4 of them. So every time I'm doing a big change, I'll just like save it as a new. So I've got Stone of Farewell 1, Stone of Farewell 2, 3, 4.
Wow, dude.
And then sometimes I'll just like collapse all the layers. So it's just one layer, and then I'll keep painting on top of that. My process is really messy, so I'm not that organized with layers, where a lot of artists sort of have like, this is the layer from my foreground, this is the layer from my background. And part of what I enjoy is I just have the chaos of it, and I just put brushstrokes everywhere. I'm also actually, I wasn't looking at it like this. I have like this kind of blinder thing up while I'm
okay. That for my brain, that makes much more sense than having everything.
Yeah.
But I get why maybe you would have to have the rest of it for things you brought in.
Yeah. So I just I'll leave it like this, and then I'll extend it out once I've got the front cover kind of down.
Wow. Man, that is super cool. How do you is it left up to you pretty much everything, or do you communicate with the author and say, hey, do you like this idea?
Yeah. So with Broken Binding, it's all through since Malazan was the only projects that weren't working with Patrick was when I started, it was the Loch Lamora one and the Silver Blood Promise. Ever since then, everything has been working with Patrick. So he's been amazing to work with.
Oh, that's so cool to hear,
man. So it's very back and forth. I mean, at the start, it was sort of more formal through email, and now we're just talking on Discord like every day, back and forth. And I'll send him where I'm at with stuff, and he'll give me thoughts. And then he'll send that to the author. Not every project needs to go through the author, but some of them, some authors want to be involved, some don't. It depends on the author and the publisher.
Be that familiar with the written work of all of these books like Patrick is, to be able to kind of guide, is that kind of what he does, is guide the illustrator through creating an authentic feel for the written work?
Yeah, so that's I mean, he's doing multiple things there. First of all, I think that's a good conversation. A lot of people don't know what an art director does exactly. So it's everything from finding the right artist for it, and finding the artist that can work on the time frames that some of these projects are on, because it's very quick. Like I say, a lot of it's like between the approval stage and the we need the finished files. A lot of times it's like 2 months. And so a lot of artists are booked up for 6 months to a year. So getting that in time, and with changes and with somebody who's adaptable. So it's finding the right artists, organizing everything with the publishers, getting approval for things with the publishers, kind of being that intermediary. It's not like he's got full say of everything either. There's also the publisher's got the opinion, the artist or the author has an opinion. Obviously, the artists have an opinion as well and might ignore what he says. So it's all between a bunch of people that he's trying to organize that stuff.
So can I safely say that after this has become, and this, I mean the Broken Binding and special editions, that shit gets a little deeper?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
there's more people to talk to. There's more people to say, okay, I think that's accurate.
Yeah. So like I say, it depends on the project. So sometimes the author is involved. Sometimes the publisher's like, yeah, go that, whatever, that's fine. But sometimes they're no, I don't like that. There's all kinds of different situations with that. But then, there's, so with Patrick or with art directors in general, it's back and forth as far as accuracy, as far as the overall feel. If I'm between different options, I'll send a few things to him and he'll give me his thoughts on that. But we have a great relationship, so we do a lot of very back and forth stuff.
That makes me so happy to hear, because just, me, I have to say, just being passionate about literature and all that represents, that encompasses all sorts of work, including yours, typography, which I know you do, but other people's do solely, just that's their only thing.
Yeah.
Or formatters who have I have people who format the work, it makes it more beautiful, less intimidating. There's so much that goes into a book. So kind of just sharing your side of the avenue, man, I just really appreciate that, because I know it's complex, but to us that have, to me, I don't know, about the rest of the viewers, but it makes that picture a little clearer for me to hear it come from you, man. So I appreciate you going deeper into that.
Yeah, for sure.
So right now, how is it that you market yourself?
I guess I don't do a lot of marketing, mainly just posting stuff on Instagram and Twitter and that kind of thing. Keeping my website up to date. But I honestly, I'm just very thankful. I haven't needed to do a whole lot. I used to be more doing where I talked to blogs and stuff like that back when I was getting started, and seeing if they'd be able to post some of my work and share it that way. So that was more of it. But now I've had to work just kind of piling up. So I haven't
Can
been.
you guys see
I haven't
that
needed to
screen?
look for it. Yeah, it's showing up for me.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go through what Jeff's website has as far as, you know, his illustrations, and wow is all I have to say before I show you this, but just kind of take it in, man. The epicness, if that's a word, of the stuff that you do, Jeff, is just incredible. So I have a lot of these books too. It's like I had a lot of them before I knew that it was you behind the work.
Yeah.
But finding out, so it's like it translate. This Ruins of Ivy, man, I love that look.
Well, thank you.
This kind of like greenery mixed with kind of like a little bit of a slum, maybe. I haven't read the book, but it looks incredible. I also love this one, the Universe game. I gain authors to read through artwork. I do a lot of it. So cool. Did you do my guy Joshua Walker?
Yeah.
I thought so, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it on here. Maybe it's farther down, but Joshua Walker, I was like, that.
I don't know. I don't know if I have that one on there. Yeah, I have very few on my website. I've done like 1,000 book covers at this point.
Wow.
So,
I have Zodak too. Zodak by Max Moyer is a really good book.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm working with him right now. I'm working with Josh Walker on book 2. I talked to him this week actually. So we did our first sketch with him.
Dude, I had The Elements of Time by Sam Paisley like a year and a half ago. Had no idea.
Yeah.
Guys, this is the guy I was talking about that I just picked up, who has a wonderful prose, man. Peter Elliott. Great guy. Let's see here.
Yeah, 1,000. Yes, I mean, I used to do even more per month. I've lowered it down now that I've got more into. I was doing more a more photo bashed and more graphic design kind of covers that were taking a lot less time. I've cut down a lot on how many covers I'm doing per month, because I was doing like 15 plus per month, and now I'm down to like 7 because they're taking a lot more time for each one.
I'll bet. So do you? Well, here we'll get to the question. I'm glad somebody threw a question. Reader in the Desert, Sarah Beth says, "Can I say that Michael Whalen was always my top tier, but Jeff exceeds?" Whoa, dude, that is a solid. That's a solid comment. Just incredible.
That's huge.
Art.
Yeah.
Wow, Sarah, that's incredible. Ooh, this is another question, but I don't want to take away anything from Sarah's. That's wow, what an incredible comment that is. Thank you, Sarah. Shane says, my boy Shane. I like your name, dude. Shane Boyce, dude. He says, what's the dream project?
Yeah. I mean, dream project is probably doing, I mean, the top ones for me is just, it wouldn't necessarily be the biggest projects out there. Obviously, I'd say something like doing like redesigning covers for Lord of the Rings would be crazy. But I would say just my favorite covers or my favorite books is always the most exciting thing to work on. So I would say my favorite trilogy is The First Law.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite. So like doing covers for that would just be huge. Red Rising, right up there. Would love to do special editions for those.
I would 100% pay for your rendition of Logan Nine Fingers for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough with that. Like, it's a very character focused trilogy, or all his work is. And my work doesn't tend to be that way so much, but he does still have really cool like landscapes. And I just got to get better doing characters.
Okay, so that's something that I would have to say that I haven't seen a lot of specific characters, but that's a cover. I don't know how many covers come in specific characters. You know,
Yeah.
you more so look at a lot of the covers I see nowadays are at Walmart, right? And they're simplistic, but they're not at the same time. I don't know. It's like the romanticy feel.
Yeah.
There's like some filigree. There's a really bold font and maybe a little bit of a background. I don't know, but there's so much more depth to what I see you doing. It's far superior, and I think it's cool to kind of hear that the first law, like his first law. There's a few scenes where I could see some epicness going where you could fill that gap, man. I think that would be cool. And also, absolutely, man. Wolfman Chilla, what's going on, brother? He says, can't wait for Jeff to do a Broken Binding Moorcock cover in 26. Is that going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know about anything that far ahead.
Okay. Well, love the
Sure.
cover. Is that you?
Thank you. Yeah. We're doing Aragon. So the first board art has been revealed there.
Dude,
so that's up on my website.
Christopher Paolini has sold like 50 million copies of that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you, man.
I'm excited to show the rest of those.
Oh, that's so incredible.
Yeah, no, that was a big one because I've done like as far as the projects I've done with Broken Binding, that was kind of the first one that's been like a big one that I've loved growing up, or that I've read before. To be honest, like I hadn't read Three Body Problem, I hadn't read Dragon Bone Chair, I hadn't read Malazan, so this was the first big one that I've read and loved as a teenager. So it's awesome.
All of those trilogy or series you just named are pretty deep, man. You get into Tad Williams, they're huge. Yeah. There's lots of them. You get into Three Body Problem. It's very hard sci-fi. That's a niche. You get into what was the other one? Oh, Malazan. That's a trip that most fantasy readers are scared to take. Yeah. Those are difficult series to find like millions of people that are just, chomping at the bit to get. So yeah, those are intimidating. Those are intimidating to me as a reader.
Yeah, Malazan. I read a book and a half of Malazan, and it's intense. It's just so many characters, and it's beautifully written. Like I would just get stuck reading the same sentence over and over because it's so good. But it's also just a lot to follow. It
is. And I'm right where you're at. I'm like a book and a half, and I had to just like take a break. Like I'm not going back to it anytime soon. I'm not in the space for that. Mm-hmm. Like kids take my time, and I can't think about a book that much. Like when I hear people say, this is my favorite series, it's a journey that I can't take at the moment. So I'm going to put that on pause.
Yeah.
Hopefully I enjoy it just as much as those other people's. And but right now it's not it, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful work, and it's beautiful prose, and it's very well written, and there's some really cool characters and scenes, but it's hard to get into, I find.
Yeah. So have you ever felt necessarily burnt out doing what you do?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think I'm fairly practical with it as well. Like a lot of artists are very kind of like the whole idea of burnout and like that. To me, it's like you don't get the choice of being burned out of your job. Like you got to go to work anyways.
Sure.
So that's why I like to have lots of projects on the go. I definitely have. There's like where a lot of people might say, like, I don't feel like working, I'm not going to work. I just say, I don't feel like working. I've got to work anyways. Let's just do something that I can deal with today. Let's just detail something up. Let's work on something that I can do.
That's a man's answer right there.
Because you got to pay the bills. You got to get the work done. You can't just not work.
I love that answer, brother.
So love it. Yeah, I mean, I got a family. You got to get stuff done.
He's got it, and he's got to take care of it. I love that answer, man. I love it so much. Molly McCobb, she says, by the way, Molly, I'm like 75%. I've been pushing through. Not pushing, I've been breezing through. I told my wife, she's like, I can't believe you're that far already. Because I read pretty slow, but I'm loving, and I'm almost to the end of the wonderful Dark Bloom. her first self-pub horror flick.
It's awesome.
Horror book. Yeah, she and her I got here it is. I made sure to bring it out. Dude, check that out.
Awesome.
It is. It's slick,
That's a great
right?
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Looks good.
And I love the name too, Molly Macabre. You know that's a horror. Horror, you're coming through it.
Yeah.
But she says, have you ever worked on any horror projects?
I have, but not in years, and I would love to do some more, but it's hard to get into a genre that you don't have in your portfolio. So that's like I would love to, especially doing like monsters and that kind of stuff. Awesome.
Dude, I think you could do like an epic, like if I'm a horror author, I'm hiring Jeff Brown to do like this dark forest, maybe with some people coming out at me, where they're like, you don't want to go in that forest, right? It is kind of epic in scale, not too personal, but you're gonna show the horror. Oh man, I think you could do.
Yeah, I would really love to do some kind of Lovecraft stuff, like that kind of the creepy seaside port, the little hints of tentacles and like that kind of thing.
That's so cool.
Cthulhu kind of illustration would be awesome. Love to do something like that. But
well, I tell you,
like I said, you don't get that many. I mean, horror covers don't tend to be illustrated like that to start with. So that's one side of things. But the other part is just, you don't get a lot of work in something that you don't isn't your thing. Like people think of me and they think epic fantasy covers. So it's I'm not going to be the go-to for that.
They're not wrong.
No, and that's what I've always sort of enjoyed reading the most. So that's it's kind of the dream thing for me.
I love it. Hold up. Did you do anything with Richard Swan?
Yeah, we just did. I did the boards for his new
Grave Empire.
Yeah,
dude, you did that?
Yeah, the with the sharks with the armor.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, that's
my. I knew that, and I didn't know that at the same time. I remember seeing that you did the sharks with the guy. I'm reading that right now. I got the arc, dude. It's
awesome. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
On top, I haven't read the arc, but I got a digital copy. It looks like it's so cool the way it's formatted with all the I don't know. It looks like it's just so beautifully done. And the world just seems so cool. So I'm looking forward to reading it.
It's very Napoleonic kind of feel with like muskets, but also like magic and like hard generals with people who don't take no shit, with also people who are like, hold on, I have an idea. I went to school. I don't know. His writing with the last trilogy he did is great. But I've seen his work evolve, man, and this is so good. So I'm just so glad when I get that, because I definitely ordered it.
Yeah.
When I get that special edition, I get to see some more of your work, brother.
Yeah, well, it's a cool one.
I saw his little rendition of a drawing for you, right?
Yeah.
I knew that you did it, and I just forgot.
Yeah,
because he's like, hey, here's this little bit of a drawing, and seeing what you make out of that.
Yeah, it's funny. I told him I was going to post that. He's like, I'll sign it for you and get it to you next time I see you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I got to meet him at Worldcon in Glasgow. It was great.
I saw pictures of you there, man. Multiple pictures. I can't remember exactly who with, but yeah, Empire Wolf Hannah. You're right. I couldn't think of the name. But I saw many pictures of you with other people there. How fun was that?
That was crazy. Yeah, it was amazing. Broken Binding actually sponsored my trip there, so that was huge thank you to Broken Binding. It was an amazing trip, and got to meet so many amazing authors and publishers, and it was crazy because things really blew up for me this year, right, from working with them.
Definitely.
And just I was kind of just doing lots of smaller indie projects, and then all of a sudden got some they just announced before, just a couple weeks before that had announced both Three Body Problem and Dragonbone Chair. So then kind of everybody in the publishing industry there, all the authors, editors, publishers, booksellers, kind of everybody knew who I was from those. And it was crazy because they just see my name. She's like, oh, you're that Jeff Brown who did the Dragonbone Chair? What?
Dude.
That's crazy.
I mean, after doing Tad Williams, after doing, I hope I say his name right, Shijing Liu, like just there's no other outcome. I mean, that's what it is. Like people see these works and
Yeah, no, I'm very, very grateful for that. It's a huge opportunity. And
so you went from Mexico to where was it at?
Well, I flew
Glasgow?
I flew into London though, stayed with the guys from Broken Binding for a little bit, and then we flew from I drove to Birmingham, and then flew to Glasgow.
Wow, dude. I had scheduled to have Matt on the channel one time, and I was really sick. It was going to be with a couple other guys, and it was going to be fun. I need to do that again because he seems like an absolutely cool ass dude.
Yeah, for sure. He's amazing guy. Super fun, super genuine, and just a wonderful person. Yeah.
Oh man, I need to do that. I need to get back. I need to reschedule that. That's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to somebody that is considering going into cover illustration or cover artist
cover arting,
you know, or since you can speak on it, typography?
Yeah. I would say you have to get really good at it. A lot of people just try to get into it as like a quick money grab kind of thing. I think there was probably a time for that, right around 2017 or so, when lots of people were just getting into self-publishing and getting kind of quick covers out there. But right now, I think it's really tough to get into the business, and which is a good thing and a bad thing. I think a lot of kind of mid-tier cover designers have had a lot of been struggling a lot lately. And there's so many books out there, and there's so much competition, and so I would say making sure that your skills are up to par is going to be important, and just getting in lots and lots of practice, and not expecting it to be an easy way to make money. If you want to make money, there's a lot of better ways to do that to get there quickly, because you need to spend thousands and thousands of hours first. But if it's what you love, I think just putting in the passion, showing your passion, putting in a lot of effort into making a beautiful product that people can connect to, and just loving what you do more than just trying to get it out there for the money would be the most important thing.
I have to say something real quick.
Yeah.
A guy that does what you do, knowing what you do, to say, hey, this isn't a quick money grab. This isn't something that you can learn overnight. But if you put your heart, you put your desire, you put your passion into, and if you're truly passionate, continue to do it, hone your craft, I think you could be successful. That's what I hear you say.
Yeah, you will be successful if you put enough time and passion into it. You need to not lose the passion for it, and you need to do it because you love it, not because you're expecting to make it a job.
That's beautiful.
But if eventually you'll get there. Like there's no question about if you can get it. It's skills that anybody can learn. Obviously, there's benefits of having creativity, of growing up having done that I've always, like, I've been doing it since I was a kid, so I've got an advantage. But there's a lot of people that started doing art as adults, as people who started learning art at 30 plus years and then becoming professionals. That also definitely happens. You just have to really want to do it and enjoy doing it enjoy creating art for the sake of creating art, and then and become passionate about improving, and you'll get there. It's just a matter of time.
And I think that this also falls into categories. I just want to kind of speak on the category I know. Like, I see my wife, like, what she does is basically is a freelancer, but also creates her own, like, graphic artist design drives. So there's like 15,000 of her graphic arts that she put into, yearly folders. So there's different levels. Like, there's cover artists, there's graphic design, logos. There's
tons
so
of
many
things you can do.
things.
Yeah. And I was always expecting to get into video game or film kind of concept art. That's what I was kind of training to do. And I was not expecting to get into book covers, and I kind of fell into that it's something that fit me really well because I've always loved books and loved fantasy books and loved fantasy covers. So it just wasn't what I was expecting to be able to work in, and it worked out amazingly. But there's lots of different options you can do for work,
Yeah.
or creating your own project. Like there's all kinds of things you can do if you're good, if you stick to it, and if you work. It's like you do have to put in the thousands and thousands of hours to get there, and hold the passion for it. Yeah.
From Jeff Brown himself, man, I would take if you guys are looking into getting a similar kind of career. Honestly, I don't know who I would take any other advice from my man Jeff. Cheeseburgers. He or she says, love your work, Jeff. Huge fan of your world building videos. Are you planning on continuing the Walking on Clouds project? I don't know what that is, but I wanted to make sure I threw that in there.
Yeah. So I've got so backed up with cover design projects. I haven't been able to work on this, but it was going really well. I started a YouTube channel with my own world building project. So you can go check that out if you search Jeff Brown Graphics on YouTube.
Okay, well, I'll add that link below. I didn't know
that. So I got like 7,000 subscribers on there. I got one video with 100,000 views.
Hell yeah.
And I just was never able to continue working on the project because it's just so much other big illustration projects that I've just got, like, that I'm like really behind on a lot of this stuff. So I really want to get back to it at some point, but I'm really not sure when.
Sure. No, I get that, man. In Iskandaria loves those videos as well, man. I got to check them out because I'm super interested.
Yeah. I have it in my, I'd love to. I mean, I'm not a writer, but I've always written little bits of stuff. So I'd love to write a novel in that kind of world eventually.
I'm going to read it, Jeff. If you write it, I'm going to read it, my friend. I promise.
Yeah. So I'll learn how to write eventually, and I'll get that up. But it's right now I'm really enjoying illustrating, and it's going really well. I got tons of huge projects, so I don't want to say no to things right now in that world to do this stuff where I'm also excited about it. But I'm having so much fun with illustration right now that that's what I'm doing right now.
Just as a fan of your illustrations, I'm very excited that you feel that way. And also, kind of as we've reached, it never feels like it. Tell me if I'm wrong, but an hour and 10 minutes of just hearing the side of books that this is the first time on my channel having an illustrator, having a cover artist to kind of explain things. I just want to say that I'm very thankful you made some time out of your busy schedule as a dad, as an illustrator to kind of hang out with me and my viewers. And it's been absolutely incredible. And I wanted to thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great to be here. And thank you for having me on.
100%. I hope to have you on again in the very near future.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll think of some other wonderful questions now that I kind of get a grasp on the beginning stages of what you do, as well as my viewers being interested in what you do, as they obviously are. So again, the best of vibes, the best of everything I hope for you continues to grow. I hope to continue to see wonderful works of art that you've done with wonderful businesses like the Broken Binding and self-pub authors. And just wanted to thank you once again, man. Yeah,
for sure. No, I look forward to keep working with Broken Binding and all these self-published authors. And yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate your enthusiasm for my work. It makes me very happy.
Oh, brother, it is 100% honest and pure. And I know so many of my viewers, I know Shane, Avid Book Junkie, Wolf Mantula, all that, Tim McKay. I'm going to rewatch this video 100 times, just kind of writing down notes. So Jeff and everybody that was here live to kind of comment away. I won't be taking as long as the time off next time. Got some fun stuff. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be publishing it on X and Instagram and stuff like that. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. I appreciate you all being here. Jeff, everybody that was live and everybody that will watch in the future on replay, thank you so much. If you do watch in the future and on replay, please leave in the comments what your favorite part of this video was. And if you have any questions for Jeff, because I will definitely send them to him, get you an answer. And until next time, guys, like, share, subscribe. Jeff, you have a wonderful night, my friend. Everybody that was watching, y'all have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time.
You too. Thanks so much. Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.